Dear Jorge, thank you so much for being with us today for the 23-24 Fulbright Irish Awards webinar that's kind of specializing in law and social science. Now, a lot of the things we're going to say are actually general enough. A lot of advice is kind of generic regarding of kind of what your background is, but today we will indeed be focusing particularly on law and social. So my name is Paula Melvin. I'm delighted to be here. I'm the Senior Awards Manager with the Fulbright Commission in Ireland. And I am delighted that Daniela Bronco, Graduate Program Specialist, Graduate Programs in the University of Pennsylvania Carey Law School, can join us today. And I'm thrilled that Ross Malvery, a current Fulbright Student Awardee in the University of Pennsylvania Carey Law School, will also be joining us today. And I think it's really exciting that we have a current Fulbright student in the States joining us. I know a lot of you on the call here who are watching, who will be typing questions, also want to undertake LLM student awards like Ross in the States. So my next slide, if it will actually go to my next slide. So Fulbright, what is it? So Senator J. William Fulbright established the Fulbright program back in 1946 after the Second World War. In 1957, Ireland joined, and then in 1991, we became an official kind of commission as we are today. And now 180 countries are participating in the program. When Senator Fulbright initially established the program, he hoped that 8 countries would join, so it's been highly successful. So Fulbrights are for everyone, to be honest. It's for passionate, accomplished students, scholars, artists, teachers, and professionals. And most people on this call today will be applying for student awards, where that means that they're applying for masters or PhDs in the States, or a scholar award, which means you're already a lecturer or 5 years professional experience, you'll be going teaching or lecturing in the States. And we welcome people from all disciplines because Fulbright is open to all disciplines to research, study, teach, and lecture in the United States. So I personally have not done Fulbright, but the feedback I get from awardees all the time is that it's a lifelong engagement. We have the Ireland United States Alumni Association, the Irish Fulbright Alumni Association, as well as the Ireland United States Alumni Association. So you can kind of continue the conversation, not only with Commission, but with other groups as well when you come back from your trip to the States. And it is the recognition of being a Fulbrighter. I have walked the streets in New York and in DC with bags that say Fulbright, and you will get stopped in the States. It is really well known. And there is that Fulbright family that you'll be kind of joining if you get a Fulbright, and you'll be joining global peers because Fulbright is run in so many countries around the world. And I'm sure Ross has met other Fulbrighters from different countries in the States while he is in Pennsylvania. So Fulbright Awards consist of a monetary grant, which is worked out based on where you are in the States. So if you're going somewhere slightly more expensive, you get a higher stipend. If you're going for a short Fulbright Scholar Award for just 3 months, you'll get obviously proportionally less. You'll be getting paid for 3 months essentially, whereas if you're doing, say, a student LLM award in the States, you'll be paid for 10 months. We help you with the visa administration, accident and emergency insurance, culture and professional programming before you go on your award. There's also enrichment seminars and different things that our colleagues organize in the States, and ongoing support and links to a global network of Fulbright alum. So it really is the experience of a lifetime. What people tell me, what Fulbright awardees tell me, is that it is transformative. And I'm seeing some questions popping up in the chat there, so I hope we'll have lots of questions later on. So the Irish Student Awards are for postgraduate research and postgraduate degree programs. The majority of people I manage, because I manage as Senior Awards Manager for the Fulbright Commission, I work with Fulbright students. So I'm working with people who are doing masters in the States and PhDs. Then my colleague Anthony works with the scholars. So the scholars are different because they're people who generally already have PhDs. So they're academic or professional awards to research or lecture in the States. Then we also have Tech Impact Awards, which are scholar awards. They're for short-term research, just between 2 weeks and 3 months. So they're different from the other awards, which are longer. The Tech Impact Awards are for academic research and professional research with a focus on IT. So we've had people go over on Tech Impact Awards doing health things, doing Irish language. It doesn't matter what you're doing, provided it involves tech. We also have the FOTA Awards for people to go and teach the Irish language in the United States for 10 months. And we also have the Schumann Awards, which are administered by our colleagues in the Belgium Luxembourg Commission. So we have sponsored awards in different fields such as environment and law, and we strongly advise people to consider the sponsored award categories. If you're applying for Fulbright all discipline, you'll be kind of competing in a way with people from across every single discipline imaginable. Whereas if you're going for a sponsored law award or a sponsored HRB Health Impact Award or a sponsored Chagas Award, you're kind of more so competing against people in a much smaller capacity, people who are just in your kind of particular area. So anyone, be you in social science or law today, I'd urge you to visit our website, Fulbright.ie, and to go through the different sponsored awards and see if any of those sponsored awards could be for you. We have a wide range of awards there, between things for artists to engineers to lawyers. So definitely have a look at all our sponsored awards that are available. So the All Discipline Award is kind of what you would expect. The All Discipline Awards to open from applicants who are from all areas of research, and applicants can complete a full PhD or master's in the US or a portion of a postgraduate degree. Now, please note, if you're going to the States to do a 2-year master's as a Fulbright student, the Fulbright Commission will fund the first year. If you're going to do a year PhD, it doesn't matter where in the PhD that year falls. If you're going to do a full PhD in the States, be it in law or social science or anything else, we will fund the first year of that. So we also have the Scholar All Discipline Awards. Similarly, it's open to all disciplines. All the awards we're talking about today are open to Irish citizens, regardless where they're resident, once they're not living in the States, and EU citizens who've been resident in Ireland for 5+ years. So the majority of candidates who apply for a Fulbright Student Award or a Fulbright Scholar Award apply for the all disciplines. So then law, so we have, you can apply if you're a lecturer and you have a PhD, you can apply for an Irish Scholar Award through the all disciplines to go and lecture law in the States. If you want to go and do a PhD or an LLM in the States, you can apply Fulbright Irish Student Awards in all disciplines if you're applying for, if you want to go to Harvard Law or study law in Kansas or North Dakota, South Dakota, you'd apply for a student award in all disciplines. We will be talking shortly more about the University of Pennsylvania Carey Law LLM sponsor award we have with them. We also have 2 sponsored student awards to LLM as Fulbright students in Notre Dame School of Law. They have a general sponsored award in law and a human rights one. And we also have the Indiana University Maurer School of Law LLM sponsored award as well. So for the people who are in law on this call, these are the awards that are most kind of relevant to you. So the quick guide: Law Student Awards, Ireland, United States, LLM program for Irish EU citizens. You apply to the Irish student to all disciplines and then advise them of your application to University of Pennsylvania Carey. So I think actually I might leave or to Penn Carey Law people, experts on this call, to talk more about the Penn Carey Law Award we have. But again, it's for Irish citizens or EU citizens who've lived in the Republic of Ireland for at least 5 years. It's like all Fulbrights, you need a minimum 2-1 undergraduate degree in law and a clear course of study. Leadership is always vitally important to any Fulbright award. We want people, if you're a student and you don't have a proven track record of being a leader yet, that is fine. We want people who have potential to be leaders going forward. If you're a scholar and you have that PhD and you're already lecturing, well, then it's more so we want you to have demonstrated leadership in your field. You cannot be a dual Irish US citizen or green card holder or currently living in the US. And we don't want people who've extensive experience of living or studying in the US. What we mean by that is say that you spent 4 of the past 5 years working and living in the US. Fulbright is supposed to connect make new connections from people of the United States and people of Ireland. So that would be the rationale behind that. And then we also have the Maurer School of Law sponsored award. It is an opportunity for an Irish student to travel to Maurer School of Law to do a general or specialized LLM at a leading university in the US. And again, it has very similar requirements to the Penn Carey Law as well. So if anyone's interested in taking up the opportunity with the Maurer School of Law, the Indiana Law Program, definitely have a look into this sponsored award. And then Notre Dame, as I previously mentioned, have a student award for you, an Irish award to travel to the US. The LLM for student at Notre Dame allows students to study the legal system of the US, traditional US law, and school environment. So if you're interested in undertaking a law LLM in Notre Dame, definitely have a look at this LLM. And then also Notre Dame have the sponsor awards with us to undertake an LLM in international human rights law. So definitely have a look at this as well if you're interested in human rights law. And then in terms of social sciences, so I know there's a lot of people on this call who are students and scholars interested in undertaking a social science award in the US. So you can apply as an Irish scholar if you have that lecturing experience, if you have 5 years of professional experience in all disciplines in the US. If you're an Irish student and you want to take a master's or a PhD in social science in the US, similarly apply to the all disciplines. We also have the Fulbright National University of Ireland Scholar Awards, Fulbright Tech Impact Awards are also ways to undertake a Fulbright Award in social sciences in the States. So social sciences impact all disciplines of study and research. Fulbright sponsor awards in different disciplines may be entirely relevant to your study or research proposal. So be innovative in your approach. But sometimes we get calls and emails to the office asking us, and we do get quite a lot of emails and calls in the run up to the award deadline, which is the 27th of October at 4 p.m. Irish time this year. But we do get asked, oh, what's the best sponsor award for me? But you know your research better than we do. So you're actually the best person to have a look at all those sponsored awards and see where you fit in or where your research fits in. So in terms of eligibility, as I already mentioned, the Irish Awards are open to Irish and EU citizens who've been resident in Ireland for at least 5 years. And if you say are an Irish passport holder, or say if you're a French passport holder who lives in Ireland and you've been living here for 3 years, you're not eligible to apply to the Irish Commission, but you may be eligible to apply to the French Commission. If you are a Japanese or a Nigerian passport holder living in Ireland and you don't have an Irish passport, you may be eligible to apply to the Nigerian or Japanese Fulbright Commission. There's some rules that are generic and common to all Fulbright Commissions and posts around the world, but others like eligibility kind of vary from country to country. So for dual passport holders, keep that in mind. You must demonstrate a very strong rationale for going to the US. So say, for example, social science, why do you have to go and do this master's in this university? Or why do you want to undertake an LLM in Kerry School of Law? Why can't you do it in UCD or in NUIG? So you have to have that strong rationale. I need to go to the States because X, Y, or Z. I can't do this in the States, or I can't do this in Ireland, or vice versa. It could be, I want to go and bring what we do really well in Ireland to the United States and improve their system. You have to comply with the 2-year home rule visa requirements. So when Ross is finished his 2 years student award in the US, he has to come home for 2 years before he's eligible to obtain a visa to work and live in the United States. And this is a generic rule across the world for Fulbrighters. During that 2-year home rule, you can return to the US and attend a conference or go on a holiday, but you just cannot live or work in the US. You cannot be a dual Ireland, United States citizen. You cannot be living in the US at time of application. And like I previously mentioned, you cannot have recent extensive experience of studying or living in the United States. So now about some application tips. So every year in late August, the application opens for people to start their applications to go teaching or researching or lecturing in the States. In late October, around Halloween, the application period closes. So this year it'll be the 27th of October. In November, December, we will find expert reviewers in your field who don't know you, who aren't from your host institution, to review your application. In January, February next year, then the interviews will take place. And then in March, the offers are made to people telling them they were successful or unsuccessful in obtaining a Fulbright Award. So the best thing you can do now is to review the information on our website, fulbright.ie. Choose an award. Like I said, look at those sponsored awards. Find a course, plan your research proposal. Research what it means to be a Fulbrighter. So Fulbright's kind of about the greater good. It's not just about you going to the States, taking a student award, doing an LLM. It's about what you're going to do outside the classroom. So if you're going to do a student or scholar award in a particular field, be that law or social science, we don't want you to go into a lab or a classroom and be lost. We want to know about you as a person. So what are you going to do outside that lab or classroom? Is there something in the American culture you want to learn? Or do you play the fiddle? Do you speak Irish? Will you be getting involved in GAA in the States? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but we want you to kind of be engaged with it's a cultural, it's not just an academic exchange. And register your interest to receive guidelines on Fulbright.ie. So finding a host. Who do you want to work with in the States? Seek experts in your field. We welcome diversity. Diversity obviously means a lot of things. We get a lot of people who want to go to the two coasts. It will be great. I'd love to see more people apply to go to New Mexico and Idaho and North and South Dakota. Like, it is supposed to be a meaningful exchange. It's not just supposed to be an exchange, say, Dublin and California or Dublin and New York. We want people from all around Ireland applying for awards all around the US. So reach out to Fulbright Irish and US alum. We'll be happy to help. Use existing Fulbright links such as sponsors. Select a host institution, and it should make sense to you first. I need to go to Penn Kerry because whatever the reason is, or wherever it is you want to go. So application requirements, personal information on a CV. Do not just rehash whatever you say in your essays in your CV or vice versa. You must submit a Fulbright statement, which we also call the personal statement because it's about you. Your project statement about the master's you're going to undertake, or the PhD, or the research. 3 recommenders use the same deadline to apply as you to submit their reference for you. A copy of the bio page of your passport, samples of work for artists, and a letter of affiliation for researchers and scholars. So a lot of the time when people are applying to undertake a student award in the States, the deadline for those masters doesn't quite line up with our deadlines in the Fulbright Commission. So if it's not possible to obtain a letter of affiliation by the time of the deadline for the Fulbright Award, that is fine. Send it on when you have it. But in terms of researchers, student researchers and scholars, it'd be great if you can get that letter of affiliation before the deadline on October 27th this year. So the research objectives: why is your work groundbreaking? Your rationale for going to the US, and identify the specific areas you will concentrate on during your time in the States. Explain your objectives and expected result, and what impact will this have on your discipline, research, and career. So in your Fulbright statement, it is about you personally. Tell us about you, not your research. What are your personal and professional ambitions, motivations, interests, and what you hope to achieve in the US upon your return, and the role and benefit of being a Fulbrighter. So like I said, do not just rehash your study essay or CV. Remember, this is an indication of your written communication skills. And in the Fulbright program, we invest in people. So I'm seeing more questions coming in the chat that we'll address after Daniela and Ross speak. So delighted to see those questions, so keep them coming. In terms of the review stage, after you submit your application, myself and my colleague Anthony will check all the applications for eligibility and completeness, and then the applications will be sent out for review. So at the review stage, it will focus on the academic record and project statement, and less on the culture, engagement, and leadership. And then at the interview, it focuses more on the culture, engagement, and less about the academic track record. And please note, when you're doing an interview, the people, say you're in law or social sciences, the people on your interview panel may be no one from your kind of area on the interview panel, so bear that in mind. So resources, we have a very exciting initiative, the Fulbright Ambassadors, which are new. So we have someone on nearly every 3rd level institute campus in Ireland there who's a Fulbright alum, who's there to help you. We in the office are here to help as well, but none of us have actually done a Fulbright, so it's great to reach out to someone on your campus who've been through the process, who's applied for Fulbright and has been successful. We also have numerous alumni videos and testimonials on our website, and also on our YouTube channel. We'll be pushing this video on YouTube after this. There's Fulbright events, there's support at your university or college, and follow the Fulbright affiliate groups on social media. So diversity inclusion, we welcome candidates from underrepresented communities, areas of research, home organizations and HEI, geographical areas, ethnicities and abilities. So definitely share who you are as a person. So the next steps, reach out to those recommenders, because like I said, they have the same deadline to apply as you do to submit the reference for you. Select your host institution or institutions. Now, scholars sometimes tend to go to more than one institution, but you have to have a very strong rationale for why you need to go where you need to go. Research that Fulbright ethos, talk to a Fulbrighter, follow us on social media, send your queries to awards@fulbright.ie. Please note we are a small team, so I'm a senior awards manager. Anthony O'Malley is the awards officer, so there's two of us in the awards team. He'll be manning that email. We are getting a high number of queries, which is great to see, so it may take a few days to respond to your query, but we are delighted to see so many queries coming in and the interest in the Fulbright Awards. So visit our website on fulbright.ie, and if after this presentation and viewing our website you are still not sure whether you should apply for Fulbright Award, please contact us. So now I am absolutely delighted to be sharing some slides now for Daniela Branco from the University of Pennsylvania Carey Law School. And I know people who are interested in applying for that sponsored award are very excited that Daniela can join us today. So thank you, Daniela.
Thank you for having us here, and thank you for that presentation. I didn't know about Senator Fulbright, and that quote that you used it's so true, so good to read that, especially nowadays. So my name is Daniela Branco. My accent's not from Pennsylvania. I'm from Brazil, so you're going to notice that accent. I'm an instructor of legal writing for LLMs, and I also work as a graduate programs specialist here at Penn Carey Law. And I'm here today with Ross, and he's going to be talking about his experience here at Penn Carey Law. Next, please. So we'll be talking about why consider an LLM in the US, in any school here, some of the factors that you should take into account when you are choosing your LLM. And then we are going to talk a little bit about important aspects of our school. Next, please. So why do an LLM in the US? It is an investment in your future. In the US has, or the schools that are usually ranked among the best in the world. So it's an opportunity for you to continue your studies in a quality institution, or to start and having access to a world-class institution. It's an opportunity for you to specialize in an area if this is something that you want. So you want to continue study an area that you are already working on, or that you are doing research on. But it's also an opportunity for you to diversify, to change fields, or to look into some other area that you never heard of, or you never had the opportunity to study. And of course, it's an opportunity to be familiar with American law and American legal practice, which is quite pragmatic, and also American legal teaching. The experience at the law school in American schools is quite different. It's quite unique. And Ross is going to talk a little bit about that. And you are going to have intangible professional and personal benefits. So LLMs are becoming more and more common. So if you have an LLM from the US, of course, this is going to give you that competitive edge. And you have the opportunity to expand your professional network. You'll be meeting people from all over the world in these programs. And also personal benefits. It's really common to hear that from people that they make lifelong friends during these programs here. Next, please. So some of the factors that you should take into account when you're selecting a program, it's the location of the school. You have schools that are located in smaller cities, so you might prefer a small city setting, or a large campus, or in a large city. And you have that option here. The US has more than 100 LLM programs, so you can choose from a more rural setting to a more urban setting. Specialized and general LLMs. So some schools offer specialized LLMs where you can take courses only in certain areas, and your LLM is going to be issued with that specialization, or a general LLM where you can select the courses that you are going to be taking. The size of program also is something that varies considerably. There are programs that have 30 students, and some are even smaller than that, and some programs that have more than 300 students. So you have that range that you can select from. The programs also, we have programs that have classes that are specific to LLMs, and other programs where LLMs can take classes with JD students. So you don't have separated classes for LLM students only. And the resources, oh, sorry, yeah, still the other one. The resources available to LLMs, I think that's another aspect that sometimes is overlooked when you are selecting your program. The academics, of course, are really important, but you also should be looking into what other resources are available. If LLM students can participate in all the clubs that are available to JD students as well, if you're going to have professional opportunities, professional training opportunities, pro bono work, or the opportunities to be involved with pro bono work and engage in other activities. The alumni networks. So if you are looking to work internationally later, or even to go back to Ireland, it's important to know if the school that you are choosing for has strong alumni networks, because you might rely on those alumni later on in your career. The selectivity also varies a lot. You have programs that are less selective, others are very competitive and more selective. And of course, the cost. So this is why it's really important to have programs like Fulbright. It's an expensive investment, it's costly. So it's important if you start thinking about that at the beginning of your application process. Next, please. So why Penn Carey Law? Penn Carey Law, it's an Ivy League school. It's usually ranked on the top 10, among the top 10 schools in the US. Our faculty is world-class faculty, and they are experts in their field. Most of them, the majority, they have a postgraduate degrees in other fields other than law as well. The culture of collegiality, and I couldn't emphasize that more. I think this is a unique aspect of our program. It's a very collaborative, very welcoming environment. And part of it, it's because of the size of our program and even the size of our JD program. We are a relatively small school. And this is something that you notice when actually you enter the building of Penn Carey Law. And cross-disciplinary. Most schools in the US, they do offer cross-disciplinary courses that go beyond the core law courses. But Penn Carey Law actually was one of the first schools to emphasize the need for that in the law school curriculum. So we have a robust list of courses and with courses that you can choose whatever you want. It's amazing. You can do now we have sports as legal systems. You can do religion and law, technology law. We had a Bitcoin, legal aspects of Bitcoin. So if we have more than 100 courses that you can choose from, and I think this is becoming more and more important as the world becomes more complex, and we know that legal issues are not only legal issues anymore. So this gives you that unique perspective. Also, we offer our LLM students the opportunity to get a Wharton Business and Law certificate, and this is offered only to our students. And we're going to talk about that later. Next, please. So we offer a general LLM, and that means, so it's flexible curriculum. You can pick your classes. If you want to specialize in an area, you can. It's just a matter of choosing the classes that are related to that area of law that you want to study. So if you want to specialize in tax law, you can do that. If you want to specialize in corporate law, you can do that. But you have the option to pick your classes. And I really think this is one of the beauty of our programs. And we also offer 2 concentrations, and one is intellectual property and technology law, and the other one is global security, sustainability, and human rights. And for those concentration areas, you were required to take on certain courses. And you also have interdisciplinary opportunities, so you can take one course, a 3-credit course in any other school on campus that you want. So if you want to take a course in the philosophy department, economics department, you can do, or social sciences department, or the Wharton business. If you are not taking the Wharton business certificate, but you want to take a course there, you can do that. Next, please. Thank you. So the Wharton Business and Law Certificate, it's a program that is designed for our LLM students, and it is taught by Wharton faculty. And so all LLMs are eligible to apply. There is no application process for that. Once you are admitted into our program, you are eligible for this certificate. So 50%, usually 50% of our class participates each year, and there is an additional fee for that. Thank you. Next. So this is Rosemary Hennigan, a former, we have Ross here, that our current Fulbright scholar from Ireland, and Rosemary is our former Fulbright scholar from Ireland as well. So Ross, I'll pass that to you now to talk about your experience here.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear? Yeah. Hi. How are you getting on? How are you doing? Como vai você? Hello. So I'm here currently in Philadelphia. I'm currently doing the LLM in University of Pennsylvania, Gary Law School, and I'm having a really, really nice time. So it's about 5 weeks now into the academic year, but I would have came over in July, and I really have to give a shout out to Paula for helping me so much. And I was pestering her emails throughout July. But one of the good things, I think, one of the amazing things about the Penn Law School kind of program is the preterm program for the LLMs. So in August, the LLMs will come over, usually about a month earlier than most of the other LLMs, and do a month-long program, kind of like teaching you US legal writing and US legal methods. And then you do like an introductory course into US constitutional law, which will give you kind of a general overview of US law, so that when you go in September, you won't be like thrown in the deep end with the JDs, which I think is like a really, really excellent part of like the Penn Law School as opposed to some of the other LLMs on offer. And kind of echoing what Daniela already said, like there's so many people from so many different countries here. It's amazing. There's about, I think about 100 of us, and I think there's about 40 different countries represented. So like I've made friends. I've been very fortunate to make friends from so many different walks of life and so many different places, people at different stages of their legal career. Like there's people who, like I'm 24, and for context, I studied law and political science in Trinity. And then I worked as a judicial assistant in the High Court for the last year. And my judge, Judge Simons, is an administrative law and judicial review judge. So I was very interested in doing US administrative law. I was very interested in studying US administrative law, parts of which like US regulatory frameworks I'm kind of studying here. But you meet people who are lawyers from so many different countries and so many different areas with so many different areas of interest. And you get some very, very, very interesting conversations. And I've learned not just about American law so far, but about different jurisdictions. Like, you know, I've had conversations with people about Pakistani law, Brazilian law, Colombian law, things that are like I would have never previously even contemplated. So Penn has an amazing choice in the modules you can take. Like I'm doing the general LLM, so I can't really speak for the specialized LLMs, but I'm doing stuff in like constitutional interpretation. So like looking at how like US judges will analyze the Constitution and the different philosophies underpinning it. I'm doing like securities and financial regulation, or like international law and international relations, because I'm kind of interested in international law from a social science background, because I have a social science background. But you like the choices of modules are absolutely excellent and like very, very varied, and you can really tailor your course to what you like to do. So, and Philadelphia is actually a very cool city. Like, it has an interesting stereotype in America, but I found it unfounded. Like, I think the people here are very friendly. Like, there's a very, if you're into like kind of rock music, there's a very thriving underground house scene here. So like a lot of people have gigs in their houses of concerts and stuff. So like there's a lot of things actually going on in Philadelphia, and it's like it attracts like a lot of different people from a lot of different parts of America as well. So it's a very cool city, and it's very, very interesting, and kind of there's a lot going on. So when you're not studying.
That's brilliant. Thanks a million for that, Ross. So now for the questions. So we are after getting a few in, so this is great. This is brilliant. And hopefully you'll be in Ross's place next year answering and talking on our webinar. So firstly, one section of the form asks about recent J1 experience. Would being on a J1 in 2017 be classed as recent? No, that's fine. Having gone on a J1 in 2017 is fine. You're not ineligible because of that. Does a one semester academic exchange to the US in 2007 preclude someone from applying for Fulbright? No, that's fine. We're saying if you spent 4 years out of the past 5 years in the US, we consider that to be excessive kind of recent experience in the States. Is it okay to refer to specific US institutions in the essay? I asked this on the guidance documents. It says we should, but on the online form itself, it says we should not. So Fulbright is run in up to 180 countries around the world. The application form is generic in every single country, and we in the Irish Commission cannot alter that online application form. So that's the reason we give you Ireland-specific guidelines. We in Ireland, in the Fulbright Commission in Ireland, as per the guidance document, we want you to list those specific institutions. So where there's kind of an anomaly between the guidelines that we specifically furnish you with and the online generic form, please follow the Irish guidelines. Is 2 pages okay for the Fulbright statement, and is 2 pages okay for the research statement? Yes, 2 pages each is perfect, fine. Would it be possible to have intern add to the drop-down menu for work experience section? At the present, there is no option to select for this as the role or position undertaken. Unfortunately, it is a generic form across all the world, so we don't have much say in the form. It's very generic, but I can bring that to the Institute of International Education, who administer Fulbright in the States' attention. I have another question here. When do you find out about the success of your application? So how much notice do you get before you're being called for interview? So between November and December, we try and get all our reviewers to complete their reviews, but they are volunteers. They generally tend to be alum and experts in different fields. We'd like to tell people as soon as we can in early January that they've received an interview later that month or in February. Sometimes we're following up with a few last reviewers. If there is a little bit of delay, it could be as late as mid-January. So you might have a week notice or 2 weeks notice, but we'll tell you the dates of the interviews anyway when you're applying. So you have those dates flagged if you are successful and if you are called for interview. Can I ask what the letter of affiliation needs to include and who needs to write it? My chosen host institution can provide a letter of invite or support signed by the sponsor and school dean. It only processes the request at the level of the University Research Office Executive Committee if the application is successful. Is the letter from the sponsor and dean enough? Sorry for the long question. No, that's perfectly fine. We in Fulbright are more flexible, so we don't particularly mind. Say if you're applying to Penn Clary Law, they may want it to be from a certain person. Like certain host institutions may have requirements. We don't particularly mind if it's the head of school or whoever the administrator is. Of course, we don't particularly mind. That is fine. If you're going to work with if you're a student going to do a PhD, work with a specific person in the States, or if you're going to work with a specific person as a scholar in the States, it could be better off that it's just that person. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter that much. The letter of affiliation doesn't need to say that much. It just needs to say we are willing to host this person as a student or scholar in the US in our institution. But obviously Fulbrights are very competitive, so the more glowing and the more passionate they can be wanting to host you, the better. But we don't have a standard word for word what they need to say. This is great. We're getting so many questions. Keep them coming. What is the recommended page length personal statement and study proposal? Up to 2 pages each, but please note the interviewers and the reviewers will be reading a lot of applications, so the more succinct you can be, the better. is a 4-page research proposal okay? It should be around 2 pages, but we don't have like a strict font or a word or font size or a certain font you need to use, or we're kind of flexible. How long should the CV be? We say maximum 6 pages, but ideally in an ideal word, more like 2, but you can have up to 6 pages. I think that's all the questions. I'm going to give Ross and Daniela a chance to come back in if they so wish.
I mean, if you have any questions specifically about pen carry law, if not, I could just give a rundown about the application process to all schools here as well. So I'll start with that. I mean, it's the basic application process is similar. Usually you are required to send, so it's not very different from the documentation that you have to send for your Fulbright application. You need to send your transcripts. So your transcripts are everything that you did after law school. So your law degree, and then if you had anything else. We also require 2 letters of recommendation, and you might use the same recommenders that you used for your Fulbright application. You can submit up to 4 letters. Usually two letters are required by all schools here. And your personal statement. So that's where you have to explain why you want to study at Penn Carey Law. And again, I would emphasize what Paula said. It's not just don't duplicate what is in your CV and elsewhere, because that information we already have. So it's a chance to tell us a little bit about you. And you don't need the language proficiency requirement, but you need to apply for a waiver. And so that's all it is required for our application. Anything that, yeah.
That is fantastic. Thank you for that, Daniela. And then, sorry, someone's asking, how many applications do we receive for general awards as opposed to sponsored awards? We do receive a lot more applications for the general awards, because that's in all disciplines. Like you could be studying trees or squirrels or volcanoes. Like we do receive a very wide range of applications in numerous different fields, which is absolutely fantastic. And then sponsored awards, obviously, say if you're applying for Penn Carey Law School sponsored award, that's obviously like only a certain amount of people can apply for that. So you are better off if you're able to apply for a sponsored award to do so. If you use references in the research proposal, should you have a bibliography in the proposal or include these in the overall bibliography additional information section? That's up to you, whichever you prefer. Ross is making himself available for anyone to pop him an email, emailing him any questions, which is fantastic. So I just want to thank Ross for being here on the call, and hope glad he's having a fantastic time in Pennsylvania. Thanks a million to Daniela Bronco as well from Penn Carey Law School, and also massive thank you to Aoife Drynan, who does communications from the Fulbright Commission and who made today happen. So thank you, Aoife.